In the last section, we built your perfect customer avatar. And let me tell you, that is one of the hardest steps that most people ignore when they're building their campaign. People get so excited about the tactics. They just want to run ads. They just want to send out emails. But you must build your customer avatar canvas and flush it out as much as you can, because you absolutely need to speak to your customer avatar canvas in a way that's going to resonate. So if you finish that part, I applaud you. And if you haven't, I would almost say pause this and go back there and get that part done. In this next section, we're going to be talking about offer attributes that amplify your big ideas. So with the customer avatar canvas, you had documented several big ideas that speak to your customer's transformation. Now we're going to amplify those big ideas with offer attributes, and there's 4 of them. Let's hop right into it. When we think about these 4 offer attributes, there's actually a really handy acronym that you can use to remember what they are. And that acronym is TBIF. And a good way to remember that is Thank Buddha, It's Friday. So the offer attributes, that's not what they're actually named after. We're going to hop into each one of them right now. The first offer attribute that we're going to look at to amplify your big idea is transactional attributes. This is the part where the price needs to make sense to the customer. So the question you want to ask is the perceived value of what you're presenting to the customer greater than the cost? So often you're using transactional attributes to acquire first-time customers. So they've never heard about you before. You may do things like 10% off your first purchase. You may do a gift with purchase offer. You may do free shipping over a certain threshold, but you don't always need to discount when you're thinking of transactional attributes. The most important thing to remember, does the perceived value outweigh the cost? So sometimes without discounting, you might include urgency or scarcity. So scarcity would be a limited quantity. Urgency would be a limited time. Or sometimes you don't need to use scarcity and urgency tactics or discounts either. You just need to justify the price point to your customer segment. If you sell really, really high-end, 100% organic cotton hoodies, sometimes you're never going to discount that. But you might explain to your customer segment, you never need to replace your hoodies. The color retains over 5 washes. So you could say, buy this hoodie, yes, it's $200, but it's gonna last you for 10 years and the color is gonna remain. So whatever you do when you're thinking about transactional attributes, just think about justifying the price point where the perceived value is higher than the cost. With each of these 4 offer attributes, I'm gonna show you how to sell a jacket by focusing in on one of these offer attributes. So for transactional attributes, let's see how we would sell a winter jacket using transactional attributes. So here's an example of 2 ads that are very heavily focused on transactional attributes. They're really just focusing on big discounts. So the one on the left, men's and women's select winter outerwear clearance 30 to 50% off. There's no brand messaging here. It's just big on transactional attributes. Same with the example on the right. You would see these type of ads selling winter jackets at the end of the winter season. It's big on transaction, and maybe a lot of first-time buyers are gonna see this and they're gonna buy because of that transactional incentive. The next type of offer attribute we're gonna look at is B. So far we looked at T, transactional. Now we're looking at B, which stands for brand attributes. This is when you're thinking about a cool narrative or a cool story that your customer is gonna resonate with. What kind of causes does your brand support? What is the lifestyle motive of your customer? What is your vision, your mission, and your values that your customer segment is going to align with? So let's take a look at how we would sell winter jackets using just brand attributes. In these examples, there's an example on the left here. It says the North Face. And in this ad, it's really trying to resonate with the relevant narrative of the customer segment. They're born in the mountains, they wear it in the city. So with this ad, it's talking to somebody who works in the city but loves the mountains, and you can wear that jacket in both instances. With the example on the right here, this is a Converse ad, and they're selling this jacket to teenagers. So with this ad, it says you have the right to test the water. And again, they're speaking to that lifestyle motive of the customer segment. They're a teenager, they're rebellious, they want to be more independent. So this ad is really just speaking to that brand narrative. With the next offer attribute we're going to look at is I for influence. with influence attributes, these are when you're using third-party endorsements for your product or brand in your ads and in your messaging. So influence attributes would include things like influencer campaigns or micro-influencer campaigns. But my favorite type of influence attribute are customer testimonials or reviews or user-generated content. So you want to go out there and get a lot of testimonials and leverage those as your influence attributes within your campaign messaging. And I'm going to show you some more examples of this shortly. Another important influence attribute that you must be thinking about at all times is social proof. Where has your product been featured? Has it been featured on USA Today? Have you been featured in a well-known magazine within your industry or within your niche? Do you have a massive social media following? Do you have a stamp of approval by an industry authority? You want to be thinking about all the different influence attributes, and we're going to trickle those into your messaging as we'll look at in a second. So let's take a look at how we sell a jacket using influence attributes. With these three examples, you can see the one on the left. This was a famous Adidas influencer marketing campaign. This is an Instagram influencer featuring the jacket and selling through influence there. With the example in the middle, this is Jennifer Aniston wearing a North Face jacket, so she can be selling through influence there. And like I said, my favorite one that almost any business can leverage right away are customer testimonials. So with this ad on the far right, it's featuring the jacket, and all it's featuring are customer testimonials endorsing that product. And the last offer attribute that's going to amplify your big idea and lead to more sales is probably the most obvious one. It is F, functional attribute. With functional attributes, you're thinking about how does your product actually make your customer's life better or more convenient? With functional attributes, your product most often serves a specific function based on a need or desire. For example, if it's raining outside, what are you going to need to buy? You're going to need to buy an umbrella or a rain jacket or rain boots. So with functional attributes, there's usually a need-based trigger that motivates your customer to go buy that thing. So let's take a look at how we will sell jackets using functional attributes. With the example here on the left, the Polo Ralph Lauren jacket, you could see all the messaging around it. It says, this jacket provides immediate heat. It has hours of heat time. It's water repellent. All function-specific messages to sell this jacket. It's got a giant cold mountain in the back that implies you could probably wear this jacket to climb this big cold mountain. With the jacket on the right, this one is literally just talking about all function. It's talking about the use cases. I can wear it Nordic skiing and hiking and backpacking and snowshoeing, or the features. It's packable, layerable, wind resistant, insulated. All of these are functional attributes. It shows you the use case and the different features. Now, one really important thing to note here, with the Polo Ralph Lauren example, did you notice that there's also brand attributes included in this message? This is the same jacket that Team USA wears at the Olympics, right? So they're including both functional attributes and brand attributes. And this is a major takeaway that I want to leave with you. When we create our campaign messaging, most often we aren't leaning on just one offer attribute. We're often stacking each of these offer attributes, because if all these things add up, your customer is going to be more likely to buy. If you think about it, if there's like a need-based trigger, like it's raining and I need to buy an umbrella, that's my functional attribute. And it says, we make the best umbrellas. They're water resistant. They last for years and years. That's functional. But I'm also going to be wondering, who's the company that sells this? Am I aligned with their values? Am I aligned with their mission? Do I resonate with their story? And if that makes sense, another thing that I'm going to be wondering is, do other people love this? So I'm looking for customer testimonials. Do other people endorse this product? So if they have 10,000 reviews, I'm going to put my thumbs up and check that box, right? So I came there for the function. It made sense. I loved the brand. I'm reading all these testimonials. So those three offer attributes were adding up. The last offer attribute that needs to add up is transactional. Based on all of the other things that I've seen about this brand, does the price point make sense? Is my perceived value of what I'm buying greater than what I'm going to spend? And if all those things add up, it's going to lead to a lot more conversions in your e-commerce campaign. Now, for this next part, I'm going to show you a real world example. In our mentoring and coaching program, Merchant Mastery, this is a business that I worked with, and we did some one-on-one coaching, and they're called Black Hair. They sell really awesome hand-printed t-shirts out of a small town in Eastern Canada, New Brunswick. And when I talked to the owners, they basically said to me, Scott, I'm really struggling here. We sell t-shirts. They're t-shirts. And she was kind of viewing them as a commodity. And she's saying, how do we stand out from other t-shirts? That's what it is. It's simple t-shirts. So I'm going to show you how we completed the offer attribute exercise with Black Hair, and hopefully this will give you some ideas on how to fill out your offer attributes as well. So here's a little worksheet that I've included in this lesson, and I'm going to show you how we flush this out with Black Hair. So with this offer attribute exercise, the way that you want to fill it out is just flush out as many ideas that you can for each row. It doesn't need to be combined with one another at this time. All we're doing is brainstorming different ideas for each offer attribute. So for their transactional attributes, we came up with a few ideas, and these are incentives for people to buy. And these are things like free shipping over $75, 15% off your first purchase, buy one, get one, right? And as I said earlier, transactional attributes are really good for converting first-time buyers because there's a little incentive for them to take action and buy now. But we don't only need to talk about discounts, as I also mentioned earlier. You could say something like, these are really high quality t-shirts that never fade and they last 10 years and you don't need to replace your t-shirts every 2 weeks. That would be another example of a transactional attribute. For their brand attribute, this is when we are creating a narrative for the brand and when we want our customers that we attract to align with the values and the mission and the story. So the 3 that we came up with Black Hair, these t-shirts are created and printed in our home studio in New Brunswick, Canada, and our company's buying into a new vision of slow fashion and supporting local. Right? Another idea that we came up with for brand attributes, one of the founders who designs the t-shirts has 15 years of design background. We're meticulous with our creations and we wouldn't print on a tee we wouldn't love to wear. And the last big idea here we have for brand attributes, all of our t-shirts include ethically sourced materials from the ink to the fabrics and all of the above. Now we will jump to the influence attributes. So not only is one of the founders a 15-year veteran of design, he's also an award-winning artist, famous within Canada. And for influence attributes, we're going to include customer testimonials. Here's a really good one. I literally wear my Black Hair tee every day. And we use another customer testimonial for this exercise because this business didn't have a lot of existing social proof. They didn't have a lot of user-generated content, but it is something that I definitely advise them to flush out, and they are doing in the weeks and months ahead. The last section is functional attributes. These t-shirts are made from buttery, soft fabrics that hold the fit wash after wash. They are hand printed with 4-step silk screening press and eco-friendly water-based inks. And we have a lot of options. You can choose from over 25 of the most original graphic tees. So that is how you're going to flush out your offer attribute exercise. And I would encourage you to go and do that right now. You want to brainstorm as many ideas that you can for each of these rows. What transactional attributes can you include in your campaigns? What are your brand attributes? Maybe you want to include like a founder story in there, include your values and your vision and your mission. With influence attributes, what kind of customer testimonials do you have? Have you featured your products in any publications or websites, or do any famous stores carry your products? You want to leverage these kinds of things for influence attributes and think about your social proof. Of course, everybody has a product that serves a specific function, so functional attributes should be the easiest for you to brainstorm. And just think about all the ways that your product makes your customers' life better. These are usually the features of your products. It's the weight, the color, the quality. It's also the use cases. Where do you use your products and how do you make the most of it? So I encourage you right now to go and fill out your offer attribute worksheet and flush this out. As you can see, if you flush this out, you're already starting to differentiate your products a lot more from your competitors. You recall how when Black Hair first approached me, they said to me, Scott, I don't know how to differentiate our t-shirts. We sell t-shirts. But going through this exercise, now you could see that we have a lot more to work with and we can position our t-shirts much differently from our competitors and find the kind of customers who love these offer attributes the most. So go and fill out your offer attributes and we'll see you in the next section.